Today I'm going to show you how to use Tinkercad to make a fantastic fob with rounded edges. So let's get cracking. A quick backtrack, you can see here I've got a fun fob. This was used to create an NFC tag. If we hit T for transparent, you can easily see the open area in there where when it was printing, we added the tag. I've also got the one on the screen so you can see the finished results. Now I wanted to have the edges rounded and my friend ZDP shared a technique. Check this out. Of course, this is Tinkercad.com. It is 100% free and the absolute easiest place to learn computer-aided design. Today we're going to simply hit Create New 3D Design. I like to start by naming projects. I'm going to call this Fun Fob. If this is your first time using Tinkercad, I've got a ton of day one lessons. You can find them quite easily with the bit.ly right here. Now this fob can be used for NFC tags. If you have not seen that tutorial, I'll put it right here. I'm going to summarize it as well. So now let's make our smooth fob. We're simply going to bring out the Sketch Revolve tool and I'm going to set it right at center. Now I always recommend you check out the sketch features. This is where we learn what is new and we can find all sorts of techniques that'll make us better as a Tinkercad designer. Epic animations, lots of tips and tricks. Whenever you're done learning, you can simply hit the X to cancel it out. If you prefer my tutorials, you can track them down using the bit.ly right here. We're going to start this design with straight lines. I want to simply make a box that goes 30 across, and I'm going to let it go 40 up. Notice you can see the dimensions as you click, and then this is just going to be a guide. I can now click somewhere else, hit the letter P, and I'm going to make it from the halfway spot on these. So if you look across, there's 10, 15. I'm going to go over here, 10 and 15. I'm simply going to connect to the middle. Once again, I'm looking for the 15 spot. That's 10 plus 5. And I'm going to come across and do the same thing. 5 more down. And then finally, I'm just going to connect it. Now I want to click outside and I want to delete that part. I want to take this part and I'm going to move it over so it's exactly in the middle. If we do shift nudge, it goes 10 at a time and then 5 clicks gets it right there. I can now double click and double click to auto smooth. If you want this to be a little different shape, you can click on the handles and adjust them with the arrow keys. Notice that makes the move symmetrical because this is a smooth handle. If for some reason you want to move these up or down, you can adjust them as well. I chose the number 30 here because I need room for the size 25 NFC tag that I was adding to this project. Right now we can simply hit Finish Sketch. I'm going to maximize the sides. I want to lay this down, so I'm going to find the rotation handle. I find this easier from this corner. I'm going to move it 90 degrees. Notice inside this arc, it's 22.5 degrees per turn. If you hold shift, it's 45 degrees per turn. I'm going to make my fob 2 millimeters thick. So check this out. I'm going to change this to 6. I'll show you why in just a second. That gives us a pretty neat fob shape, but I need the flat side for 3D printing. Here comes the cool stuff. Simply bring out the traditional cube. We're going to use the intersect tool to make these things coincide. Just going to make it bigger in each direction, but then I'm going to set the height to the 2 millimeters that I want for the project. If I grab them all, do L for align. I'm going to make this one the boss. I'm choosing center, center, and center. Notice they are completely inside, and if I grab the 2 parts and do Control-I to intersect group, bam, we have got a fantastic fob that's got rounded edges. How cool is that? D to drop. Now I'm going to cut in my hole for my NFC tag. I need to shift stretch and make that size 25. I'm going to choose to make the thickness of it 0.5. I'm going to align them by doing L for align. I want this to be the boss. Center, and I'm going to go to the center, and I need to put this to the top. Notice I missed, so I'm going to do that again. L for align. I need it to come to the top. That allows me to see where it is actually landing, and I can nudge it back to the exact middle where I want it. I do need to move it down. I'm going to move it a 0.5 millimeter down by setting 0.5 and doing control down arrow. Let's quickly add a keychain hole. I'm going to shift stretch. I'm going to choose the number 6. Grab those 2 parts. Notice it says 2 shapes. L for align. And we're simply going to do center, top. And then I'm going to nudge it back with the arrow keys till I'm happy. I can now grab all of this and do Control G to group. I'm going to choose to mark this one with a laser cutter when it's finished. Of course, if you want to see how I did it with the other print where it was multicolor, you can follow the steps once again up here in the corner. Right now, let's simply do Export STL, and I'm going to put it in 3D modeling and call it Fun Fob. Now, of course, now we can bounce to Bamboo Studio, create a brand new project. And of course, the Fun Fob is at the very top. Choose Open. Once again, I'm keeping this plain because I'm going to laser cut it. I do want to print it with my red. There's the Sunloo. We're going to do the 0.2 standard. Let's do slice plate. Notice we're looking at 10 minutes, but don't forget we have to add that pause. I'm going to slide down to 1.6. You can see that's where it's cut in, and I'll be able to add that easily. And then we can right click and just add a pause. This makes it so when the print's halfway done, we can put in the sticker. Reslice it, and let's hit print plate and send it for 3D printing. And here we are, print paused, peel off the sticker, and just drop it in the hole. Now with the controller, I'm going to just move down and hit play to get it to restart. And it's back in business. All right, not too much later. We have got a tiny, super thin fob. Of course, here comes the moment of truth. Bring out the phone, wake it up. Bang. Open in Safari. How cool is that? All right, so that printed out great, but it was pretty thin. Watch this trick. Control D, move it into the other side. We are gonna ungroup, and we are gonna ungroup. I'm gonna take this shape, and instead of 6, I'm gonna make it 9. I am doing that because I also wanna take this rectangle and make it 3. So notice we've got a total of 9, which means 3 on each side after we align everything. I'm going to quickly hide these 2 pieces. I'll show you why in a second. I still want this part to exist. I'm going to move it out here. Now when I bring everything back, now I can grab these 2, choose L for align, and of course I want center, center, and center. Notice underneath and above, that is going to be cut away. I'm going to take these 2 shapes and do Control I to intersect. Once again, fantastic round corners, but now on a little bit thicker fob. D for drop. Select these 2, choose L for align. Of course, we want to do center and center, and we need to do the top. Just getting it to the middle, which makes me happy. I like that right there, maybe one below. You can take whatever you pick, but then we do have to sink it in 0.5 millimeters. I'm going to grab the rest of them and once again do Control G to union group. And after a moment, same idea, but this fob is a little bit more sturdy. So let's wrap up quickly. Of course, the first thing I want to highlight is a huge thank you to ZDP189. Love that technique for using intersect with Sketch Revolve to get those awesome curved corners. Of course, I do want to thank Sean again for starting me on the NFC tags. I think these are going to be absolutely awesome. Of course, if you got a cool use for an NFC tag, I'd love to hear it in the comments down below. A massive shout out quickly to everybody that supports me via YouTube memberships. Don't forget there are 3 levels of support starting as low as $5 a month. With any level of support, you get early access to videos. Also, make sure you pay attention for those members only posts. Super quick thank you to everybody that supports me via Patreon as well. Love how that group is growing. We are past 600 members. It has a fantastic free messaging area where you can ask questions, post designs, gain skills. Of course, you can learn more with the bit.ly up above or the link in the description. Finally, friends, I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget every time you like, hype, share a video, add a comment down below, or click subscribe. You're helping HLModTech get just a little bigger, which absolutely makes my day. Friends, have a glorious day and keep tinkering.